January 28, 2018. Cloud9 is in the grand finals of the biggest CSGO tournament, facing up against the super team that was FaZe Clan. It was the final deciding map, where the team, which proved to be victorious, would be crowned as the winners of the most prestigious tournament there is. The fan favorites, FaZe, had taken the lead with a score of 13-8. All that was left was to win 3 more rounds. And since Cloud9's economy was not in a good position, the path to victory was basically set in stone. But what followed was quite possibly one of the most magical moments in CSGO's major history.
People around the A site. Tarek in the site itself, holding an angle right here, right there. Goodbye rain, because Cloud9 don't stop the catch really. Stewie 2K waiting, baiting and eliminating. Surely they cannot win this, they've got to run away. They have to run away. They've got all the kills, but they won't win the round. It's match point FaZe. But he goes down, Rush still alive, 4 versus 3, spotting 1 player, maybe 2 towards Young's position. Now Olaf Mice is on short, but it's a flash, and he's taken down. Tarek is not done with this major yet. Here it is, Tarek! They stay alive for 1 more round. There's 2 on the B bomb site. Olaf Mice trying to keep around the smoke, but look, the rotation's being pulled. Automatic coming off his position. The smoke, the flashes, Automatic slides. Stewie needs to land some shots, and he is. 2 kills for him. Don't take out your teammate. He's got to stay alive now, 10 seconds for this bomb to go down. He must stay alive. Stewie is going absolutely crazy on the B bomb site. There's no time to plant the bomb. It's too late. The money's not there. 1 more round.
The score was pushed to 15-14. 10 seconds were left on the clock and 3 FaZe members were rushing towards B site, which was only guarded by Stewie 2K and his AWP that only had 3 bullets left in the magazine. For Stewie to defend the site and win the round, he would need to utilize each and every single bullet to its maximum. And well...
Nothing else is going on, he's got to go back, Stewie's on his own, but look at the time! Look at the time, there's 7 seconds to plant the bomb! They're trying to build pyramids, but there's no more play! Stewie's won the round, we're going to overtime!
Cloud9 have done it! How have they done that?
The story of the Underdog is one that is not unfamiliar to any form of competition. The fascinating part about the Underdog surpassing expectations is that it's often not easily explainable, and so the question rises, how have they done that? The Counter-Strike Major is the most prestigious tournament a team can participate in. Winning one essentially means that the winners are the greatest team in that era. The format of the tournament is as follows. First, there is the Challenger stage, where there are a total of 16 teams and they compete in a Swiss system format. That means if a team wins 3 games, they proceed further, and if they lose 3 games, they fall out. And on top of that, all of the matches are best of 1. And a total of 8 teams move towards the next one, that being the Legends stage. In the Legends stage, there will be 8 extra teams that were pre-qualified Legends. Those are selected from the previous year's Legends stage. A total of 8 teams will move towards the Champions stage. And in the Champions stage, all teams duke it out until eventually 2 teams move towards the Grand Finals. And depending on past tournament performances, the winning team could be crowned as the best team in the world. However, this also means that the potential greatest teams will be competing for said trophy and title. And one such team was the 2018 FaZe roster. They featured some of the best players for each specific role they took. They had Nico, one of the best riflers in the game, who was also ranked the 2nd best player the year prior. They had Kerrigan, one of the best in-game leaders of all time. Guardian, one of the best AWPers of the time. Olafmeister, a legend of sorts in the CSGO history.
Plenty of cash, and Olafmeister giving us a bit of fun there. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing.
And Rain, one of the most consistent players.
And the threat's been eliminated. Oh my god, what the hell was that? What in the blazes was that?
He's also just such a chill guy.
I was just super confident from the start. Told my friends and family like 3 months ahead, just book tickets to the major, we're winning it.
This type of roster is something a CS player would only see in their nightmares. But this was no nightmare. This was the roster to win the major. and many people were betting on them, and understandably so. All of the cards were in their favor. And then there was Cloud9.
How can I be expected to perform when my teammates don't sleep with me?
Now, was their roster bad? No. They had some of the best North American players with the likes of Automatic, who was seriously underrated for the time.
Does SK have full control? Or do they? Or do they? Oh my goodness, Automatically going on undetected. They put so much effort into finding the deagle. Oh my god, Automatic!
Skadoodle was one of the best oppers in the game.
Kill. Skadoodle get that first shot. There's the peek from Happy. Oh, the adjustment! Skadoodle turns it into a one-on-one.
Stewie 2K, a sort of a wild card, but one that should never be undermined. Tarek, who was the team's IGL.
I mean, they're very good. If you get into the tough economic situation, you're just almost done with. Great double kill from Tarek. Don't lose the weapon. He gets a third, a fourth.
And Rush, who was also quite underrated if I'm being honest.
Peeking out at the perfect time. Actually, he thought he got that kill with the first couple of bullets, so a little bit of hesitation there, but he's going to follow it up. And Rush doing a fine job closing out the round. Comes through, and there's the ace.
Cloud9 was one of the best rosters NA had, without a doubt. But as much praise as I could give Cloud9, when you pair them up against FaZe Clan, yeah, it's hard to compare these teams. But there shouldn't even have been a comparison. Cloud9 looked like they shouldn't even have been in the tournament. Although they had clean swept the Challenger stage, winning against Envious, Mousesports, and Sprout, when they entered the Legends stage, really hit the fan. Cloud9 were wiped by both G2 and Space Soldiers.
Out comes Antares, gets nothing. Down to Paz, picks Rush out the air. Now another one from Paz. What else can he? Oh my goodness, Paz! 4 from him. Absolutely unbelievable there from him. Oh my god, the ace!
Their performance really put it into question whether or not they'd fall out of the major entirely. One more loss, and they'd be out. And to continue, they had to win 3 times in a row. But those 2 losses seemed like it was the perfect wake-up call for the North Americans.
I think it's all mentality. I think Counter-Strike is a lot about, how you think and how you feel in the moment. And, we knew our backs were to the wall, but we stayed positive and level-headed. And it comes down to just taking it game by game. You can't, think about, oh, we're 0-2, we lose one more, we're out. You have to think about it. Let's win this game and look forward to our next.
There's Barley pushing Palace. 3 players left for Virtus.pro. There's Taz, blind, never saw it coming. No weapon for them to collect. Plays through the smoke, Automatic, hearing them, executing snags. And there's the last player, Pasha, in the red. There he goes, and there they go. Virtus.pro have been eliminated from the major, and Cloud9 are fighting for survival.
Could work out. What are they supposed to do? Textbook Moses here.
Both of them with eyes on A.
High ground advantage. Oh, they spotted him. They definitely knew, and there's the kill. 16-6. Astralis set packing from Cloud9, who continue into the tournament. They're going to play later today to see if they can finally make the playoffs. Get in there. Take Skadoodle with them.
Yeah.
What an incredible...
And he's got to find 2 kills, which are completely polar opposites.
Yeah, entirely 180. Again, though, the HPI jumps across. Rush nails it. 16 rounds for Cloud9, and 1 final legend status spot.
They just barely squeezed out of the Legends stage and finally were able to move on to the Champions stage. But their next opponent were G2, the same team they lost 0-0 against, the same team who were number 1 in the Legends stage. On paper, this seemed like it was it.
So anyways, now we got G2 versus Cloud9. I know I made a mistake by not picking Cloud9 in the group stage. I know VP and Australis, they let me down, but I'm gonna go with G2 again. Okay, like I think G2 is the better team.
But something clicked.
An idea what might be coming, because that's not a usual stack towards B.
Oh, Automatic. From top mid, shuts down Kenny, and now he's got Apex pushing. There's another one! A second for Automatic, and Stewie
feel relatively safe. Peeking out at the perfect time. Actually, he thought he got that kill with the first couple of bullets, so a little bit of hesitation there, but he's going to follow it up. And Rush doing a fine job closing out the round. Comes through, and there's the ace. Picking it up and shutting down G2. G2 there with their backs against the wall, running right in. Stewie getting the spray down, and Rush there to pick it up. And with absolute style, they shut down Shoxy. 16-8 in favor of Cloud9 here. Map number 1 of the quarterfinals. Time there. sure they don't easily get shut down. NBK is gone, and Skadoodle is just...
Which was one of the key points made. Oh, run it through the smoke! And Body doesn't want to push into the site. He knows it's all on this round.
Stewie, he hears it. Apex stepping a little bit too soon. Now Body in so much trouble, but Kenny's going to be up the high ground, getting the kill. He almost went down himself. There's Body picking it up, and now it's a 1 versus 1. Stewie versus Kenny. The smell of gunfire and freedom in the air, and Stewie picking up that kill, and Cloud9 are in the semi-finals.
This time around, the score was flipped. They took the wins on both Mirage and Overpass, and with pretty good scores as well. Their next opponent were SK Gaming, which they devoured on Mirage, winning 16-3.
Flashbangs that grenade, gonna land right in between, does a lot of damage. They're on the other side waiting. Cloud9 ready to close out the map. Automatic and Tarek combining for 3 kills, even a team kill in there. It's Cold Zero left in a 1, and he's got no chance. Skadoodle will take him down.
Though the next map wouldn't be a simple feat. The first half of the match was fairly close. C9 was only a point behind SK. But when the sides flipped, SK went in full force.
He did the same play last round with the Molotov, and this time he's punished. He's gonna glance away at the wrong moment. Again falling with the Scout, and a third!
One from coming in. They're just waiting right now as Fur sneaks up behind, gets one more kill. What a monster coming through! The quad kill! They cannot stop him! Stewie with the triple, looking for the quad. There's going to be a single click there, not really working out. Now he's out in the open. Fur playing with him, taking him down. It can't be any better than that.
Something just wasn't working. Cloud9 only won a single round on the terrorist side. It wasn't really clear what Cloud9 would do next. Did they have what it takes to take down a team like SK Gaming? But even if they lost, 3rd to 4th place finish for an NA team is incredible. But Cloud9 didn't seek for incredible. They seeked for perfection. And on the next map, Inferno, they would showcase just that.
No, I mean,
That's very good.
If you get into the tough economic situation you're just almost done with. Great double kill from Tarek, don't lose the weapon. He gets a 4th in the round to mixed effect. There's a flashbang up, there's a kill, there's the bomb drop as well. Tarek gets aggressive, finds one more. Rush drops down, it's the wrong moment. Tarek swings out wider and gets another.
And that leaves Cold Zero. 1 versus 2, missed opportunity there. Jumps to try and bait out the shot, and Tarek is there, closing it out with a quad kill. Oh man, on the bomb side, how could they? Skadoodle ready for that kill. Fine.
There's Phelps trying to peer into the B bomb site, trying to get a pick, trying to do something for SK. And Automatic times it perfectly.
Taco and Cold, and you can tell they're out of rhythm.
Yeah, that is going to be frustrating for Taco right at the end. And Cold Zero, he's an amazing player, not much to do. And Automatic shuts him down with the first shot.
They would finish the first half with 12 points on their side. SK just wasn't able to keep up. Round after round they were outplayed or had very poor timing. The lead was too massive. All Cloud9 needed to do was to finish everything off.
Up mid, they just want this one kill. There it is. No response from Lane and Cold Zero.
They're coming in from every angle, shooting him in the back. He's gone before he even gets a chance to get on the radio and call for backup. It's too late. They have to get out. Now Fur and Phelps, they're rushing in one at a time. There's no coordination. Phelps just trying to be the hero. Skadoodle will drop him, and now what can Fur possibly do? He needed somebody else to stay alive, and that just hasn't happened. The Molotov, he's going to challenge him, but Skadoodle, the hero, Daddy's here for the triple! And 50 rounds now for Cloud9! Headshot to the right through. I mean, what can you even do about that? Now the flashbang comes out, but they do rush down Fallen. That's going to be a lot of trouble as Fur gets down as well. Cloud9 answering back twice as hard, taking down Belt, Automatic with the kill. And just like that, Cloud9 in a 1 versus 4. Taco can't do anything. The pandemonium is 16 rounds, and Cloud9 are in the grand finals of a major tournament.
This was an incredible milestone in and of itself. A North American team getting to the grand finals of a Counter-Strike major, and with a story like this, it was truly one of the most hype and unimaginable CS major runs.
And today history is made, as for the first time ever, Cloud9 have made the grand finals of a major.
But as positive as one can be, there was something menacing about the roster they'd face next.
As a team, coming with all the changes that you guys have had in the recent years and recent months, what is the minimum expectation for you all coming into this major?
To win.
2 versus 1, the world's best player up against it, to stay in the game. They'll go for the fake defuse, but Nico not taking the bait. Can he finish this?
But now he's been stepping it up a lot, so it's a lot of fun to see. And yeah, I mean, I'd see him out on the battlefield.
That was maybe the only chance, but Guardian comes back in. Oh, Guardian, he gets 2. There's still more to go, though. Cloud9 must plant the bomb. The peaks come in, but Guardian will not stop. 1 more to go, and Guardian gets them all!
FaZe Clan was no joke. They swept both Mouse Sports and Na'Vi 2-0 in the Champions stage. There was no room for error with these guys. Their matchup against Na'Vi was especially peculiar, because on both maps there were moments where the teams were nearly neck and neck in terms of points. But FaZe Clan's consistency and ability to play the long game was something no other team could match.
Hold on to whatever they can.
Great
nice
read.
shots.
Great read from Zeus to hold off as well, because he knew CT was covered, so the event was less likely, I should say. What a shot from Guardian, words out of my mouth, as he nails it through the box. He is tagged up. Smoke on the bomb immediately. He's got the kit. Doesn't elect to hold on to it yet. He's got time to play with, and 2 for 2, Smoke will do. It's FaZe to the final, and Guardian is an absolute god.
But there was heavy pressure on both teams. Although C9 were on home turf, this was their one shot to make history, to become the first NA team to win the major. And so came January 28th.
Boston, it's time!
Inside, you heard what Sean said about noise. Make some noise in this
one, but still 2 to go, and they are playing the angles. This will be so difficult. There's nothing Nico can do in that position.
Just to get a deagle shot off. Almost, but not quite. No plan for FaZe Clan.
Understands this distraction at play. He can get a free push through the smoke. Skadoodle's done. There's that rush. He holds an off. He can potentially get a kill and then fall back and be safer, but Olofmeister.
Cloud9 probably win, but Guardian is such a problem. He is such a problem on Mirage. He is the mystery that you have to solve if you want to win. FaZe Clan now in the lead, 13-12. The bomb site, and who's waiting for them? It's Tarek, forced away, and again he's on his own. They know they're focusing on the A site. The smoke's down towards short. Does he make a play through? Stewie is here. There are smokes everywhere. Does he have the right angles? Down goes Nico. The bomb's getting planted quickly, but the frags are flying free for everyone. Skadoodle on the site. Can he find a short player? Yes, but can he go back? No, misses the shot. 3 versus 3, the bomb is down. Automatic still on the A site for some reason. Maybe looking for a lurker. This is absolute carnage. The smoke's going away. And now Olofmeister with the sniper. There's Guardian. Automatic on his own. Running up the short position. I think Olofmeister's heard him, which means that they can all hold angles. The smoke fake. The flash fake won't work out. FaZe Clan take the first map.
Although predictable, this loss was tragic. This was Cloud9's pick, and FaZe Clan were now just 1 map win away from winning it all. And them having the opportunity to do that on their own map pick, it really seemed like everything was set in stone already. But if you learn anything about Cloud9, it's that the early game determines nothing until it's fully done.
Cloud9 versus FaZe. Cloud9 down a map, and FaZe looking to close it on their home territory.
Cloud9 no longer peak. They're inviting them to the site. There's Skadoodle with the first shot. Stewie quick for a second. The spray down, the garden hose. All the Weezer dead. Here comes the Molotovs, the grenades, the smokes. Automatic spots 1 player. Down they go. Tarek just waiting for the push. And Cloud9 are all over this round once again. Almost no damage by FaZe Clan. Absolute beginning of this team. Carrigan leaving Astralis. Tarek as well. He's got a lot to prove, and he's trying to do so. Relentless aggression, doesn't matter what the situation. Oh, that's dirty, but it is from Stewie 2K, and Tarek finishes things off. He's popping off.
Getting the dink onto Stewie. Things getting very stretched right now for both teams as we go back to a 3v3.
Well equipped to go for this now. Automatic spotting a player by Graffiti, but he won't make anything. Rain's the one doing the spraying. And now it's down to Skadoodle. He sees the trajectory. He needs to escape down towards short. He knows where these players were. He saw where that grenade came from. His teammates can tell him as well. He has 30 HP. He's got no grenades. He's holding a tight angle. Guardian is so red. Not expecting it. Skadoodle, there's 1 more to find. Skadoodle's got nuclear. 4 kills for him. And he's brought him 1 round closer to the 3rd map. Nerves of steel. Where are the Cloud9 fans? Still got his AWP out, but Rain, can he find it? Finally he can. And now Cloud9, they're moving towards the A side. Carrigan with the off angle, only good for the 1 kill, but Guardian is also here.
Guardian's there. Can't find into position. The CT rotation begins to come in. And they have players from every single angle right now. 4 different points of attack potentially. Guardian, he is going to get himself up there. Tarek in position to exploit his plays through the smoke. Tarek though, undiscovered. Where's the refrag? Olafmeister, not close. Waits patiently. Oh, ho, ho! That is phenomenal! Cloud9 make it work! Map 2 in the bag, and now they're back in it. We go to a third.
It was a sight to behold, both teams winning on the opposite picks. At this point, no one could confidently say which team would take it home, and the deciding map was Inferno. And without a doubt, this was one of the most hyped matches in Counter-Strike history.
Boston makes a noise in this bitch!
Alright, looking to do it again. Goes for the play there, makes his way forwards. There's the first player, the full hold. No defuse kit, has to come off the bomb. Skadul has no idea. Now he knows, but maybe it's too late. Oh, so Walk with the needle comes in. That was almost a catastrophe, but Skadul turns it around.
I think they may sack a play, they may sacrifice one. Here come the grenades towards the bench position, and they charge. But Skadul with the 3K. Cloud9 hold, they prevail, they don't lose a single man.
It may have been a misread because in goes Cloud9, but Olafmeister has something to say. 3 kills! That's a great defense from him, and Guardian starts to get in on the action as well. FaZe finally have their time to overwhelm their opponent. Cloud9, Guardian always gets the frag. And so does Nico, it would appear. Tarek going down and
get into position because, again, once they're in position, they have been enormous problems in the recent rounds for Cloud9. Carrigan now by the pillar, delivering 2 kills, leaving Automatic alone, 1 versus 3. He has the bomb, he has a minute on the clock. Made though. Seems that it might be because there's a rotation from Guardian already. Checking the angles, but Nico will be ready for it. Running around, someone's got to collect the bomb and plant it. It's being collected. Tarek takes one in the face. Carrigan gets punctured as well. Skadul must hold the line. It could be 2. One to the left, one to the right. Both if the timing's right. Rain's still alive. In the red, he's dead. Round number 7 for Cloud9. Olafmeister may be offering a fake towards the B bomb site. Meanwhile, the flash comes in towards A. Skadul in the smoke. Skadul taken down. Tarek's got to go huge here. He's got a crossfire with Rush. We've got Guardian in a short position, and he's exposed, but he goes down. Position. Now Olafmeister's on short, but it's a flash, and he's taken down. Tarek is not done with this major yet.
Here it is, Tarek! They stay alive for 1 more round. Cloud9, they were forced off of all positions.
28 seconds now, and Olafmeister might try to pull rotation. The Molotov comes in, but so does the rotation. Olafmeister, though, has been taken out towards the B bomb site, but Automatic's going towards A. Nothing else is going on. He's got to go back. Stewie's on his own, but look at the time. Look at the time. There's 7 seconds to got the bomb. They're trying to build pyramids, but there's no more play. Stewie's won the round. We're going to overtime.
Cloud9 have done it. How have they done that? They came back all the way!
We have now circled back to where we left off, with Stewie2K clutching it up to push the game into overtime. The same momentum that brought them from the 13-8 slumber was continuing in the first overtime.
Making a desperation play into the site. They set up the set piece, but Automatic, he's found his way through the smoke. He's absolutely murdering them. But now it's down to Stewie again, and Stewie is an assassin on the B-bomb site. Still more to do though, but he's got teammates to help him out. Nico, desperation, gets the frags, but does he have the time? Just barely. And they know he's got to go for it, and Tarek closes it down.
1 down, 1 for 1, but Skadul is here, all the way from the A side, but he can't get the last frag. Olafmeister, 1 versus 2.
Olafmeister now turning the corner, he might find a timing, but no, it's in fact an anti-timing as he has no idea which way to look. Olafmeister still gets the kill on Rush. I don't know how he's done this. Another challenge, that's all he has to win out, but he can't. It's Tarek. Tarek all the way. 3 rounds in a row. Looking for the correct angles to play with. If ever he needed a result, it's now. There's one. Stewie, can he do it? Can he do it? No! Stopped by Carrigan. FaZe stay in this.
However, in the most intense moment, Guardian repeated what Stewie did before.
Rain taken out, 2-on-2 now, and it's Tarek. He's got higher health, but it's not perfect. Down he goes, it's Guardian. He's the only man standing between Cloud9 and the Major. It's going to be a double peak. There's the first one. We're going to overtime number 2. Cloud9 don't do it. They're still in this Major, FaZe Clan.
It was now time for overtime number 2.
There's a quick flash from Rush there to slow things down. Time is starting to run low here for FaZe Clan. Have to move forward. Skadoodle repositioning after the first frag. It's both now from quad here for FaZe. Can Cloud9 close it? Skadoodle gets one. Skadoodle can't get the third. It's Nico with 12 health.
Is there time though? Is there time? I'm not sure if there is. It's going to be a close one. And he's done it.
FaZe would take the first round of overtime number 2. But then Cloud9 would push it even further.
Holding the angle once again, but doesn't go high, doesn't go low. It is a dance, and now they can see multiple angles. Tarek going to grenade, they're touching the bomb, and now goes Brave. And now the bomb is trying to defuse it again, but no. Guardian gets taken down. Absolutely 50 HP, nothing to lose. You've got to go for this round. And they're going to hunt him anyway. So there it is.
Laser can occupy their attention long enough, his teammates can make the play. Just by staying there, he's a threat! Oh my goodness!
Do you know what that noise means, Dan? It means it's match point Cloud9 again. Do they have enough to take it over the line this time?
And now it was match point. And I don't think there's a better word to describe this one other than cinema.
Versus 4, 3 taken down. Automatic flashes there. Will they push? They'll re-aggress. Down goes the Guardian and the Rain remain. Automatic pushing through.
This position before. He cannot miss a single shot.
Easy does it.
Guardian
Easy
waits.
does it. They got
Patiently.
something to say.
As Cloud9 set up a push up.
This victory was quite possibly one of the most incredible underdog moments in esports history, with it also cementing North America's first ever major win in Counter-Strike. And to this day, this is the only one that exists, and just wow, what a way to make that history happen.
There were some doubters that thought maybe you wouldn't be able to perform, but you proved them wrong. Skadaddy showed up. What do you have to say to all the haters?
I came out to play. I don't really. It was the finals, and no regrets. I'm out there.
Last but not least, there are so many Cloud9 fans here in the Aganis Arena. So many Cloud9 fans all over the world. What do you have to say to them?
First, I want to give a shout out to, my friends personally who came out to support me. Tarek's Flamey came out as well. Our CEO came to see us win, which is really, really nice. And thank you for all the fans who showed up.
Unfortunately, the same roster from the American side would not prevail for long. At the time, however, Cloud9 proved the over 30-century-old tale of David versus Goliath. But for as long as it has been told or referenced, one thing that people tend to forget is how David won the battle against Goliath. And that was by using a tool to counter the much more physically stronger and menacing opponent. We often don't recognize the most important and valuable tools at our disposal. One such tool is time. Now, not to go in full alpha male time management 5 AM workouts on you, but the way we use our time and how much of it we use it for specific things can really determine what goals we can reach, or at least how close we can get to them. Even when you are one of the best in a specific field, there will still be certain goals that are so far out of reach that it seems impossible to even come close to them. One such unimaginable feat was in Osu. Who would be the first person to dethrone the #1 player? Amran.
Хватит уже инструмент ломать, если не умеешь. Душевно.
Typically, the highest ranked players in games or sports can fairly face up against one another. For example, in Counter-Strike, for the last couple of years, the debate over who is the best player in the game has not been unanimous whatsoever. But in Osu, Ever since Emrek took the #1 position on April 8th, 2021, almost every sensible person can agree that Emrek is in a league of his own, far ahead of every single player there is. And rightfully, he has been ranked the #1 player for the last 4 years in a row. The way players are ranked in OSU is by their accumulative PP plays, PP meaning performance points. The player with the largest top 100 PP plays will be crowned as the #1 player on the official leaderboard. The amount of performance points you get from a map depends on its difficulty. Although there are countless exceptions, for the sake of this video, you don't need to understand the system to a complex level. Basically, if a map is harder, it will give more PP. That's all you need to know for this video. Although the system is not and will never be fair to everyone, considering just how far ahead of the competition Emrek was and still is, there is no question whether or not Emrek should be in his position.
Wait, but didn't you just say that to this day he has an insane gap between him and everyone else?
Well, yes, but that wasn't always the case. But let's contextualize Emrek's rise to pure and utter dominance.
But do you feel like you could overtake him?
I'm #1. What are you talking about?
God damn it, dude. This guy.
By the end of 2021, the year he became the #1 player, Emrek was 2,500 PP in front of the #2 player, and his top plays ranged from 681 PP all the way up to 1,192. Knowing the top plays he has now, these numbers are quite comical. Throughout the following year, 2022, the gap between him and the #2 player had increased to nearly 3,500, and his top plays now included multiple 1.2Ks and 2 1.3K PP plays. You might have also noticed that there was a new player in the #2 position, Lifeline. Throughout 2022, Lifeline also had the time of his life as he climbed from the #5 position all the way up to #2, going from 18,000 to 20,500 raw PP. For the first time since Emrek's taking of the #1 position, there was potential for someone to maybe catch up to him. Though at the time, Lifeline had no 1.2Ks or 1.3Ks, which Emrek had plenty of. So the battle would not really begin yet. And let's not forget that Emrek was more than active. He was also setting scores and somehow improving, pushing the skill ceiling higher and higher seemingly every week or two. And 2023 can only be described as the most record-breaking year in OS history. The year would begin as per usual. Both players would pump out 1Ks like it was nothing, especially Emrek. However, there was another player lurking in the shadows, someone who was also able to pump out multitudes of 1Ks. And that was, of course, a Kolibed. And by the end of January, a Kolibed would enter the top 3, overtaking Eterna. These 3 players shared similar skill sets, all being able to play high BPM aim and speed maps. And since those maps gave the most amount of PP, they all were able to capitalize off the fact. And while Lifeline and Kolibed were trading the #2 position, Emrek would set one of the most incomprehensible records in the game's history.
Nice. Oh wait, that's 10 stars.
On February 24th, Emrek's entire top 100 highest PP plays would now be worth over 1,000, meaning that plays below that number would give him absolutely no PP. Some of these scores include a Muay Thai DTFC, multiple 1200s, and a 10-star full combo medal. This put Emrek over 3,000 raw PP in front of both players and solidifying his position as the best player in the game. You see, although Lifeline and Kolibed were also able to get multiple 1Ks, what made Emrek so much more special was that he was able to play maps that quite literally no one else was able to. For example, he was the first person to full combo cycle hit with hidden double time, which to this day is the only hidden double time FC on the map. His raw skill was just unparalleled. The only sensible way in overtaking Emmerich was either becoming better than him, which, good luck, or becoming better at him at a certain skill and putting in a lot of time. Not to mention that he can pump out high PP scores as well. You needed to have the proper skill set and the dedication. However, this didn't deter Lifeline, who over the following months would also pick his pace by getting his first 1.2k on Kizuna Music, sniping Emmerich, showcasing that maybe, just maybe, he can eventually catch up.
Yes! Yes!
He would further decrease the gap between him and Emmerich by setting another 1.2k the day after his first one. It also helped that Emmerich, relative to Lifeline, had slowed his pace a little bit, focusing more on insane passes. During this time, the Twitter account Osu All-Stars posted a unique bounty that was set. Typically, there are people who set bounties on specific maps, BFCs, specific scores, or specific people to be sniped. However, this time, a whopping $200 would be sent to the second ever person to reach 24,000 raw PP. And in the span of a single day, the bounty grew to $500. This bounty was quite controversial. For one, Emmerich is automatically disqualified. And for two, there was a seemingly obvious answer to who would claim it. Lifeline was setting 1Ks at a pace that even rivaled Emmerich. Although Lifeline was 1.4 thousand PP away from that mark, the second closest person was Akolibet, who was 2.6k PP away and didn't show many signs of farming. Reading the replies to this tweet really shows just how certain people were about this, almost no one even caring to mention anyone else besides Lifeline. That was the state of the top player competition during the summer of 2023, and by the end of September, it really looked like Lifeline would take the bounty. He was now just 600 PP shy of the milestone.
So there was a chance, a small one, but still a chance that Lifeline could maybe catch up. Right?
Oh my god. Oh my, I choked 1400, I choked 1400, are you fucking...
Emmerich popped off once again with an insane brand new PP record, and the first aim-oriented PP record the game had seen in a very good while. And that wasn't even the craziest part. If he had FC'd the map, the score would have been 1877 PP. This just showed to everyone that even though someone like Lifeline may be able to catch up to Emmerich, he can just blurt out insane scores as well. And the fact that he has been in the #1 position for over 900 days by that point and was still improving and pushing the limits of what was possible was just beyond absurd. He was the peak of Mount Everest and everyone else was looking up to him from the ground floor. And although Lifeline showed great potential, Emmerich had to remind everyone just how far ahead of the competition he really was. Or so it seemed. You see, there's a certain someone we forgot to mention, and that was because during the summer of 2023, Akolibet had been a bit inactive, allowing the competition to move forward. However, come autumn, he was putting thousands upon thousands of plays each and every single month, and his skill increase was honestly frightening, and with enough grinding, Akolibet broke the game.
Ой, блядь, чё?
He did the impossible, outclassing Emrek's PP record in just 5 days' time. I think the word outclass is still undermining just how insane this score was. The map itself is 7 minutes long, filled to the brim with 300 BPM bursts, streams, and death streams. The map is also quite old, so the patterns are not that comfortable. And the biggest kicker of them all, with this PP record, Akolibet skipped 1.4k. Actually no, the entire game's community skipped the 1.4k milestone. This was the first time in O's history that a milestone like that was skipped. And just what a map to do it on. And the play was so incomprehensible that Akolibet was automatically banned by Osu's anti-cheat. This is the first and probably last time something like this will ever happen again. Oh, and remember that 24k PP bounty and how everyone thought Lifeline would be the one to pocket that? Well, with this singular play, Akolibet became the number 2 player. And although neither of the players had reached that milestone yet, it is insane to think how impactful this one single play was. And what did Emrek have to say about this? Seems like I'll be having competition soon. And sure as well, that would be proven more than correct just 2 days after. Akolibet set yet another 1500 PP play, this time on Azul Remix. Him dismissing the 1400 PP milestone was something that would continue even afterwards, as he would set a 1.4k PP choke on Reign of Fear. These two plays pushed Akolibet over the 24k PP mark, making him the receiver of the $500 bounty that everyone was so sure that Lifeline would take home. This play marked the first time in nearly 2.5 years when the gap between Emrek and the number 2 player was below 1000 PP. Now it meant some serious business. A lot was on the line. And not just the number 1 position. Emrek was really close to overtaking Kukizi's record of staying in the number 1 position for most days, and he had the potential to do it without ever falling out of that position. And now there was Akolibet, who was a serious threat to both his position and the record. However, those were just 3 plays. I mean, Emrek had the consistency to pump out high PP scores, which even Akolibet couldn't match at the time. So surely this was just a fluke on Akolibet's end. Right. For the second time, Akolibet skipped a PP milestone, this time that being the 1600 PP milestone. And remember, his plays all happened in the span of a single week, from one Friday to another. And to think that this was done not by Emrek was even more surreal at the time. Akolibet not only outclassed Emrek in PP farming, he was also nearing the highest position possible. He was now just 700 PP away from Emrek. And remember, just 2 weeks prior, Akolibet was over 2000 PP away from Emrek. Nobody knew what was the future now. The sidetrack day score is also one that has not yet been matched. In the past, it was predicted that if anyone were to FC the map, it would have been a Turner, arguably the best speed player of all time. But that title was taken by Akolibet, and to this day, there really are not many players that can come even close to FCing the map. The speed, aim, stamina, and nerve control necessary is something that seemingly only Akolibet possessed. And now it was more than certain that if anyone dared to dethrone Emrek from his position, it would be Akolibet. He would continue to chip away at the gap by setting more high PP scores. One play that I want to point out specifically is his choke on Slider. This wasn't just a 1600 PP play choke, this was a choke for the number 1 position at the time. The gap was now just barely over 200 PP. For the first time, death was truly knocking on Emrek's door. It also didn't help that Emrek was on a slumber. He wasn't in the right headspace to defend his position, and Akolibet could have just done it right then and there. All it would have taken was one good score, and Emmerich would be thrown down. But it didn't happen. As fun and as rewarding as putting thousands upon thousands of plays every week can be, that can come at a cost, and unfortunately both players suffered the same fate. This was a weird point, because everyone was on their seats waiting for either player to push, but neither of them did. Although everyone loves a good underdog story, there is a reason why Emmerich has the title of the greatest Osu player of all time. And unfortunately, over the following months, Emmerich would slowly come back and pump some scores. It seemed like this was it. Although Akolibet was really close and put up a really good fight, Emmerich was just too strong. And it really is not easy going up against someone of the level that was Emmerich. It was a battle where winning was the lesser likely thing to happen for Akolibet. And even with the two insane PP records, it just wasn't enough yet. He also said on his Telegram chat that he just didn't want to try anymore. It seemed like Akolibet would be remembered as the best player to never overtake Emmerich. Unfortunately, the immense grinding at which he was one of the best at got the best of him. But then came the summer of 2024. He would start putting in more plays, setting high PP scores like a 1391 on Bumblebee and a 1400 on Valley of the Veil, finally achieving a 1400 PP play 9 months after his first 1700. Yeah, Akolibet is an interesting player in Osu. In July, he would put another nail into the coffin by finally surpassing the 1600 PP barrier by FCing a harder difficulty of Valley of the Veil with hidden double time. This made the gap between him and Emmerich just 300 PP. The battle was once again on, and this time it was a 1v0, because Emmerich was on vacation. However, the pressure was still very immense on Akolibet. He knew he was really close, and he knew that Emmerich wouldn't be able to defend his throne. It was all on Akolibet. The gap was now less than 100 PP, the first time that this had ever happened in over 3 years. Emmerich was still offline, and Akolibet was on a roll. On July 20th, Akolibet would boot up Osu and play for over 4 hours. All he needed were 2 1.2k PP plays. But the pressure was too immense. He choked on multiple maps, which would have pushed him over the edge, but now he was just 38 performance points away from overtaking Emmerich. All that was needed was a play that was worth at least 1285 and he would prevail. The pressure was bigger than ever before, but after many chokes, after so much time, after so much grinding, Akolibet would put the final nail in the coffin.
G. This is the end. This is the end.
He finally did it by FCing the map over the top. And what a map to do it on! This is something similar that White Cat did way back in 2019 when he FC'd the map Take Me to the Top and got the #1 position. Akolibet finally took the crown. For the first time in over 3 years, Emmerich, the so-called undisputable, unrivalable, untouchable, and record-breaking player, was finally disputed. After over 1200 days, Akolibet was the one to do it. The magnitude of this achievement is severely underrated, and in retrospect, it's all the more impressive that it even happened. Taking down the player that at one point was so far ahead that you could comfortably say that he'd be #1 for at least, at the very minimum, another year if he just decided to stop playing. But he also never did, and only kept on improving. This wasn't just about getting #1. It was about taking down the most dominant player the game has ever and probably will ever see. As dominant and as diverse as Emmerich's skill sets are, Akolibet was the best at using the most important tool we have in life: and that is time. He put in the countless hours. He made all of them count, and eventually, it all paid off in what might very well be the greatest rivalry we had seen in over 6 years. It was the first time that there was actual competition for the #1 position, and that a battle even happened, and a pretty lengthy one, with multiple parts even. It is especially insane to know that he was able to do that because now, just 6 months later, the gap at one point was over 4700 PP, the highest it had ever been. Emmerich still is the most dominant figure the game has ever seen, even almost 4 years after his crowning, which makes what Akolibet did even more special, and something that we should never forget. No matter what copium Emmerich fans may use, the fact of the matter is, Akolibet did beat Emmerich at his own game. But what happens when someone wants to change the game? Back in 2007, there were two notable hip-hop artists who were on an incredible 2-album run. On one side there was 50 Cent, who was more in line with what hip-hop had been, rising on the scene with his albums Get Rich or Die Trying and The Massacre. And on the other side, there was Kanye West. Although by 2007 he had become a massive name in the scene, before his debut album, he was already the underdog. Kanye was an up-and-coming producer in the late 90s and early 2000s, someone with a work ethic you only see in movie montages. Although it wasn't known back then, his love for the craft was almost unparalleled to anyone else. But first and foremost, he had to prove himself. Hip-hop in the late 90s and early 2000s was slowly transitioning away from the gangster rap period. Gangster rap can be greatly defined by the figures such as the ones from the group NWA, Wu-Tang Clan, the legendary duo Mobb Deep, and individuals such as Nas, Tupac, and Biggie. Hip-hop has always had a large appeal for white audiences. I should know. And a great appeal with artists, especially music, is living vicariously through the artist. So to maximize commercial success and appeal, certain aspects were maybe allegedly exaggerated. And this validity has always been questioned, and especially as the years went on.
They had to present the image that their edgy street personas were real, even though most of them weren't. The vast majority of truly successful gangster rappers are not who they pretend to be. Like, NWA is a perfect example, as the members of NWA, despite being the most dangerous rap group of all time, most of those dudes weren't really on the streets like that. Eazy-E was the only one ever really involved in criminal activity, and he was just a low-level drug dealer. The rest of them were just street adjacent.
Although still very popular, the gangster rap era was slowly dwindling away as the scene was becoming more dominant by figures such as Jay-Z, Eminem, 50, Pharrell and his partner Chad Hugo with the Neptunes, and another legendary duo, Outkast. So how did Kanye compare to the rest of the crowd? Well, he didn't really fit the typical norm. He was coming onto the scene and people were talking about him, but as a producer. Most notably during this period, he helped with the production of Jay-Z's The Blueprint, producing tracks such as Heart of the City.
My manager, who definitely saved my life, was like, yo, play that one beat for Hov. And it came on, dun, dun, dun. And he was listening to it like, oh, it's crazy right here. Then they got to the chorus, and the chorus was like, ain't no love in the heart of the city. And he's like, oh, he's doing his face like that. Then he's like, play the next beat, play the next beat. I played another beat.
And Izzo. So Kanye is kind of responsible for the nickname Hov. The unique thing about Kanye was his production style, and that it was quite different from what hip-hop beats were used to known for. Kanye himself refers to this era of his production as Chop Up the Soul Kanye. However, as much praise and recognition as Kanye got for his production, his rapping wasn't looked at as seriously. And it wasn't because he didn't have the talent or the flow. Far from it. The main reason why he wasn't seen as a potential hip-hop artist was his whole look and vibe. Putting him next to other prominent figures at the time, he just simply did not fit the image. His background was also completely different to that of other artists. Both his parents were very highly educated, and his mom, arguably his biggest influence and supporter, was a professor at Chicago State University, who also introduced Kanye West to the arts. Although he didn't grow up in poverty or live dangerous street lives, he still had struggles, and those were things that he wanted to represent in his music. But since that didn't fit the norm, he wasn't looked at as a serious contender. But there was one key figure in his life who never stopped supporting him, and that was obviously his mother. Because even though Kanye dropped out of college, his mom was still very supportive, paying for his studio sessions and living in New York. There, he was trying to find a footing with his production skills, and eventually through connections with No ID and other people, he landed a listening session with Dame Dash and Jay-Z. And because they were so blown away by his production, he was signed to Rockefeller Records, which was Jay-Z's record label. But the signing also put Kanye into a box, which he had to fight out of, and that box was him being labeled as a producer. Although it's something that many people aspire to become and even want to be, or would be beyond happy to be, Kanye knew that he could be a very influential hip-hop artist, even maybe revolutionizing the genre as a whole. But his own record label didn't even believe in him. But similar to how he put in countless hours, days, months, years into becoming the incredible producer he eventually became, he was more than ready to do the same with his rapping ability. And during one of these sessions he was working on his debut album, the incident happened. This accident could have totally killed Kanye's streak on becoming a rapper. But instead of the accident letting decide his future, he recorded one of his most infamous and unique tracks of all time, Through the Wire. For one, this track is basically impossible to recreate since he literally recorded it through a broken jaw, through wires that had his mouth shut. And for two, this was his first solo appearance onto the scene, and it showed that he had the potential to become one of the next greats. And truly, what an appearance it was. He made his presence known and showcased how and why he was different through both his production and what he was rapping about. But even though Kanye was more than ready to release his album with College Dropout, his label really wasn't. It was a different time back then, and it was hard to predict the success of the album. The internet wasn't nearly as prominent in pushing music onto the mainstream as it is now, and the primary ways people found out about new and up-and-coming artists was through word of mouth or TV. So it was hard to predict how a new, totally different hip-hop artist would do on the scene. But he eventually pushed through, and the College Dropout was released. The success was unpredictably immense, selling over 400,000 copies first week, and also being nominated for many different awards. And to no surprise to Kanye, even winning some.
I plan to celebrate and scream and pop champagne every chance I get, cause I'm at the Grammys, baby! Everybody want to know what I would do if I didn't win. I guess we'll never know.
Now this is one of the most known Kanye lines and speeches, but what did he mean by it all? Why did he say that everybody wants to know what he would do if he didn't win? Oh boy. This is where Kanye's confidence and assurance over himself is shown in a negative light. In the 2004 VMAs, Kanye was nominated for 5 different awards. In his mind, he deserved to win them all. Unfortunately, however, he didn't. Then came the AMAs, where he was also nominated and lost once again. Because of this, he left the AMA venue and he was outraged that he didn't win, as, again, he probably thought that he deserved the award of the Best New Artist. However, something that is uncharacteristic about this era's Kanye is that he apologized.
When my last nomination was up and I didn't win, it was like the bell was ringing on me, and it's like, I don't get to say anything again, like VMAs. You get the most nominations and then you don't get to say anything, and that the combination of that frustration might send someone over the ledge, especially if they're a new artist. And I can't blame the way I acted, you know, on just being a new artist, because I was raised better than that. And you know, it was very ignorant, and a lot of that Chi-Town, the street mentality came out. I'm an artist, so I'm not gonna give you any buts. All I'm gonna do is apologize. I wanna apologize to all my role models, my father, Ernie Barnes, Oprah Winfrey, Michael Jordan, all of the black people that had to stand up, Denzel Washington, who had to sit in that Grammy seat and take it so many years. That was a complete slap in the face to Denzel for how many times he lost, to feel like this is my first year out and I'm gonna act a fool like this. Because at the end of the day, as black people, we still are fighting for our respect. And I'm one of the few rappers where people can look to and say, look at this guy. You know, it's okay to listen to rap music, so I take that responsibility.
Typically, most people in these kinds of situations would hold such thoughts to themselves, and understandably so. You don't want to seem petty and, in a way, disrespectful to the person who actually won. But Kanye didn't care about staying silent in his thoughts, which is something he's very well known for. But these two instances carved an image in the public's eye about Kanye. His confidence in his work was often seen as cockiness. Obviously, it is important to be prideful of your work, otherwise it can actually make you put in less and return with a worse product. Kanye, having spent years becoming the prolific producer that he was, and then even more years proving that he can be a competent hip-hop artist. And not just that, but make a product that redefines what it means to be a hip-hop artist. He knew that it was music that was different, one that spoke in many different ways to what hip-hop was at the time. And it wasn't like he was pushing everyone out of the scene, he was just making a new pathway. And understandably, this raised his confidence level to newer levels. A little over a year later, he would take this confidence and pride and pour into a new album, pushing even more boundaries, and releasing Late Registration. While The College Dropout was already a turn in hip-hop, what Late Registration was on a whole nother level. It was filled with orchestral symphonies while still also featuring Kanye's signature soul beats. Even when performing the album live, he often has orchestral bands behind him. And so with the success of his first two albums and proving that he really is a prolific artist, he was on the highest heights an artist could be, especially in hip-hop. However, this is not where the story ends, because there was another very successful hip-hop artist on the scene, and that was 50 Cent. As successful as Kanye was both critically and sales-wise, 50 Cent outsold Kanye with his first two albums with sales that were basically double the amount that Kanye sold. Although looking at sales number as a determinant of success is and will forever be a dumb comparison. I'm looking at you, academics. El narrador se ha cerrado inesperadamente. This is not what I'm trying to do here. More rather, this is just important for the story. While Kanye was pushing to a newer wave of hip-hop, 50 still embodied the more traditional ways of the genre. Both artists had their third album on the way, 50 planning to release his on September 11, 2007, and Kanye on September 18th, 2007. But Kanye decided to do a little trolling. He bumped up his release date a week earlier to match that of 50 Cent. Although this wasn't the first time something of this nature happened, as there have been commercial competitions way before, this rivalry is probably one of the most known ones of said nature. And although 50 was a staple not just in the scene but also in the public eye, Kanye was also rising to heights previously unimaginable, and with his release of the single Stronger on July 31st, he perfectly showcased the direction he was heading towards. 50 obviously took note of this, and he was certain that he'd win, even stating that if Kanye's album outsells his, he will stop making music.
Put it like this, let's raise the stakes. If Kanye West sells more records than 50 Cent on September 11th, I'll no longer write music.
And I mean, it's understandable why he would say this. His previous albums were insanely successful both culturally and financially. But this is what Kanye had to say about it.
50 Cent, he's a pretty intimidating guy, so I'm not really trying to go to war with 50 Cent. I just want to put out my album if it's okay, you know.
You know what? 50 Cent has been quoted as saying that if your album should outsell his, he will never make another album ever again. Have you heard him?
I really like 50. I don't want him to retire once my album sells the most. I just want him to...
Although Kanye was immensely confident that he'd win, not even thinking about the opposite outcome, he without a doubt was the underdog in this situation.
I've worked myself into a space where I've become the favorite. Everybody roots for the underdog when he goes against the favorite, but put it like this, let's raise the stakes.
Because although college dropout and late registration were revolutionary for hip-hop, 50 Cent was the hip-hop artist of that time. He was incredibly known, he was very successful and very popular and more known to the public eye. So in context of this battle, Kanye really was the underdog. The two would go on a couple of friendly banters, and it's honestly quite wholesome seeing the two not taking this battle as a serious competition, and even complimenting each other's works.
I'm Muhammad Ali right now. You know what I mean? It just shows you how big this music is, and you take the two biggest rock stars in hip-hop right now, put them together, and we're gonna do numbers like you never seen before. I'm never nervous. If I win, I win. If I lose, I win. I'm here on. I'm standing. I'm next to 50. I'm next to you right here. My big brother just came out. It's a moment for me right now.
Okay. Y'all had to have listened to each other's album. Kanye, do you have a favorite 50 song on the Curtis album right now?
Yo, yeah, my favorite joint is I Get Money on the album, but I like this joint he got that I don't think on the album, so I don't want to talk about that. I'm getting money, but I don't want to talk about that.
Okay, so which one is your favorite Ye song? Have you heard the album Graduation?
Right now, well, as soon as I get my money right. I told him that in the studio before he put the song out.
How did you feel when you heard him borrow one of your lyrics in that joint?
Now, that was good. You see what I'm saying? Because y'all got something else going on right now. That was good. I mean, but you know, that's what hip-hop is. We borrow from each other all the time.
This whole banter definitely helped both artists secure more sales when the two albums would eventually drop. So either way, there was a mutual win for both artists. And the date finally rolled around. And the first week, Curtis, 50 Cent's album sold an astounding 691,000 copies. And Graduation, 957,000. Now, again, album sales are absolutely not everything, especially when you compare artists with two different styles, even if they are in the same genre. However, this win really showed that Kanye was the underdog. Not only did he fight his way up the hip-hop scene in the previous years, he now cemented himself as one of the most successful hip-hop artists of that era, proving to everyone that he was the guy.
Definitely feels good to be home here at the Grammys. You know, we snuck in about 4 or 5 years ago, and now we basically made this our new place of residence. When working on a hip-hop album in a state, you know, with the music game, they say, like, you know, you can't sell records, or a lot of people say hip-hop is dead, not just Nas, but, you know, a lot of people just said, like, the art form wasn't popping like that anymore. I wanted to cross the genres and show people, you know, how we could still express ourselves with something fresh and new, and that's what hip-hop has always been about, you know, coming out with new sounds and stuff. I always told Common, like, man, you gotta time the album out better. You can't drop them the same year as me, man. You gotta, this is my award.
It is easy to look back and just see how foolish 50 Cent was for thinking that he could dethrone Kanye. Well, even though he was the underdog, but this is something people often forget. History is often fogged up, and when you really see the required context, you start to understand why certain situations are just so incredible. And obviously 50 Cent did not stop writing music. However, there are certain events that you look back at and just are still amazed that they even happened. Whether it be Cloud9 beating FaZe in CSGO's major grand finals, or a Kolibet managing to minimize the gap between him and Emmerich and eventually overtaking him, or Kanye West proving to everyone that he is what hip-hop needed. There's something so mesmerizing about seeing the greatest team, player, person in any field being dethroned. especially in an unimaginable upset. These kinds of moments don't happen often, and for an understandable reason. They are upsets. They are the statistical outliers. They are the Davids against Goliath. A very common consequence of an underdog winning is the medium changing. It can be for the better or for the worse. In the case of Cloud9, FaZe Clan over time changed around their roster, focusing less on star power and more on a diverse team dynamic, which has allowed them to eventually win a major. Whereas Cloud9, in the case of Akolibet, he changed the perception of what was possible by full comboing and getting unimaginable runs on maps people thought weren't even passable. With Kanye West, he has had an incredible impact on the hip-hop genre, especially later down the line with albums such as 808s and Heartbreaks. All of his college series albums and everything else that followed greatly has influenced multiple artists, even ones you probably listened to. And if there's anything you can learn from hearing and seeing these stories, is that you can not only reach grounds you couldn't have imagined before, but you can also never know when those same grounds will break right below you. You could be the next underdog. Be confident in your work, and maybe one day, everyone else will look up to you from the ground floor.